they talking real loud, spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Popping tennis, swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Popping tennis, swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Popping tennis, swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of
Brandy. And 450. N. No N. Brandy.
For the record, Gates.
Yes, sir.
Badge number
516.
516. In order to protect my rights and not waive any by error or accident, I wish to clarify my legal understanding of this situation.
Okay.
You said that I am not free to go.
Yep.
So I must conclude that I am under custodial arrest and not simply in investigative detention. Therefore, I am invoking all of my fundamentally protected rights, including my right to remain silent and my right to assistance of counsel.
Sure.
From this point forward, I do not consent to providing you with any information or documents that could or will be used against me in a court of law or to possibly incriminate me. So please do not ask me to produce anything and give it to you.
Absolutely.
From this point forward, please do not ask me to answer any questions or perform any tests relating to any matter whatsoever without my attorney present. Officer Gates, badge 5.
Look, he didn't want to
harm, injure, or punish me by any method of assault, arrest, or incarceration because I invoke these fundamentally protected rights.
Absolutely not.
Thank you! What a bomb!
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud, spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Popping tennis, swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward.
Hey everyone, good morning. Thank you for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your Saturday Vitamins. Honey, did y'all see Genuine's knees give out and then he tried to take Big Boy down with him? Fall by yourself, okay? Okay, but why did Buddy ask for an N when they already had the Igor up there? What in the hell was he thinking? You already know what kind of mind he has. Pay attention. Pay attention, honey. Okay, so listen, we have some information on Diddy, and it sounds like the accuser, the guy that came out and accused Diddy and said that Jay-Z and Beyonce were there, looks like he's had a change of tune, honey. Okay, did Jay-Z send those darn private investigators to question and interrogate him? Because all of a sudden their names are being taken out of it. Okay, but before we get into that, let's see who's all in here. All right, hey Pearly, Nina, Juju, of course, is here. All right, Root Trackers, Jeff ATL. All right, shout out to my loyal Rose. Shout out to my moderators putting in work. I see you, we the people. Latasha's here, Lillian X. All right, so let's get into it. But before we get started, hey 504 Nola, Terry Hitton's in the house. Okay, so before we get started, thank you, G from the Land, for being a member for 2 months, beloved. Okay, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so with that all being said, let me remind the channel members that I'll be posting something for members only on this channel today, as well as the spiritual channel. Okay, I also be posting something for everybody on the spiritual channel. Okay, so let's get into these receipts. First off, Kanye. I don't know what's going on with poor Kanye. He's clearly lost it at this point, but he apologizes to Jay-Z. And here's what he has to say. I'm sorry, Jay-Z. Kanye West breaks silence after making derogatory comments about Sir and Rumi. Well, that's a little too late. I'm sure they're not going to accept that after talking about people's kids and calling them E-tarded with an R. Come on, really? So Kanye West has apologized to Jay-Z after making controversial comments about he and Beyonce's children, Sir and Rumi. Now, his original remarks shared on X were part of a series of outbursts where he also criticized his ex-wife, Kim Kardashian. Now, in the recent post, West told Jay-Z that he was sorry but didn't specify whether he was apologizing for comments about the twins or other past issues. West shared that he feels disappointed by the music industry. Despite all of his hard work and sacrifices, the singer claimed that he needed support. He felt abandoned by his peers. Well, you know, I can understand that, but there's no reason to attack people's kids, Kanye. Okay, you cannot make that make sense. He wouldn't have wanted anyone saying such things about his own children. Now, the Carnival singer wrote saying, I'm sorry, Jay-Z. I be feeling bad about my tweet, but I still feel I gave my life to this industry and thought so many people were my family. But when I needed family on some real shit, none of these rap ninjas had my back. Kanye, sit down somewhere. Okay, please sit down somewhere. All right. Now, Kanye West's apology comes after he had earlier posted a tweet, now deleted, in March, where he questioned the mental abilities of Beyonce and Jay-Z's twins, Rumi and Sir Carter. I mean, isn't this the pot calling the kettle black? Now, he's up here questioning these kids' mental capacity, but not his own. He doesn't know or think that he might be crazy. I have several questions for Mr. West, but anyway, let me continue. So the post left many upset, including Beyonce's mother, Tina Knowles. Without directly naming Kanye, Tina shared a response where she defended her family, including her older granddaughter, Blue Ivy Carter. Now, in a video she posted on Instagram saying, I'm on the set of a photo shoot today for my book, and I wanted to tell you all a corny joke because I have all this glamorous hair and makeup. Want to hear it? Here it goes. What happens when a snowman throws a tantrum? He has a meltdown. That was a good one if you ask the queen, honey. Okay, I got a chuckle from it. Anyway, Beyonce's father, Matthew Knowles, criticized Kanye more openly. In an interview with TMZ, he said, people pay a price for being stupid, especially in the music industry. That sounds like a whole thread, but let me continue. Commenting about the gold digger singer, commenting about his mental health, he said, I'm hopeful Kanye gets the type of help he needs in terms of mental health. Now, following Kanye's comments, Beyonce and Jay-Z chose not to say anything publicly. However, reports suggested that they were thinking about taking legal steps against him. Okay, so anyway, honey, they're not going to sue Kanye because they know he's a whole fool. Okay, they know he's a complete idiot. So there you have that. So now let's talk about this Diddy Accuser who has clearly changed his tune. Okay? Clearly changed his tune about his story. And I'm none surprised because did Jay-Z send somebody to go have a chat with him? I just have questions. So Diddy Accuser changed his tune on Jay-Z and Beyonce. My bad. They weren't there. Not that he said my bad, y'all. Oh, my bad. They weren't there. Please sit down, sir. Okay, yeah, Jay-Z probably threatened him. Okay, told him a thing or two. Of course, this is all speculation. Now, Beyonce coming face to face with a drugged up guy wearing a Enos with a P mask must have been a crazy fever dream. The Diddy Accuser, who claimed that Beyonce and Jay-Z saw him in a freak off, has now changed his mind. Monzaro Joseph, who sued Diddy earlier this month, just filed an amended lawsuit. And while he's still going after Diddy in court, he's very noticeably dropped the Carters from his narrative. Now, in the docs, Joseph makes zero mention of Jay-Z or Beyonce. And as far as we can tell, that's the only change he's made in the lawsuit. Now, TMZ broke the original story where Joseph claimed initially that the couple saw him in a hell of a state during a 2015 birthday party in Miami for Diddy's son, King Combs. Joseph alleged that Diddy drugged him and paraded him around the party while forcing him to wear an X-rated mask. And when Jay and Beyonce saw him, Beyonce said, why is this half-naked white man with a cock-a-doodle-doo mask standing here in front of me, for lack of a better term? Okay, there is a reason that story does not appear in the new version of the lawsuit. Sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ that Jay-Z's attorney Alex Spiro warned Joseph's attorney about making false allegations in the lawsuit after proving to him Jay and Beyonce were nowhere near Miami at the time of the alleged incident. Do y'all hear this? Honey, y'all don't have to worry about anybody else accusing Jay-Z and Beyonce of any damn thing. Do y'all hear it? Okay, because all Alex Spiro's going to do is give them a call and remind them of how Jay-Z gets down. Okay? Yeah, hello. Is this Monzaro Joseph? Yeah, this is Alex Spiro, Jay-Z's attorney. You might want to consider changing your tune about that story you put out there, clearly concocted about how my client and his wife saw you at a freak-off party wearing a cock-a-doodle-doo mask, sir. Yeah, you never saw them. And if you know what's really good, you'll change that story real quick. And this time, there'll be no mention of Jay-Z or Beyonce or anybody who even remotely looks like them. Okay, not a look-alike, not a body double, nothing. You got that? All right. Okay. Don't let me have to call you again because next time it'll be Jay-Z himself. So that's how that probably went. And all of a sudden, this man remembers that they were never there. Can you imagine thinking that you saw Jay-Z and Beyonce, but it was all a mirage? I absolutely cannot, but let's continue. So anyway, so he changed his tune on that note. Now, they say this is the second time Jay-Z's been vindicated in a lawsuit involving Diddy. Remember the Jane Doe who accused the moguls of graping her in 2000? She dismissed it last month. Now, Joseph is still suing Diddy, okay, and Emilio Estefan. Emilio Estefan. I know this is a lie. Okay, said he's still suing Diddy and Emilio Estefan. And it says, yes, really. Okay, this is not a joke, people. And others for damages. Y'all heard that? Oh, so crazy. Mm-hmm. Oh, so crazy. So anyway, honey, I guess nobody will be saying anything else about Jay-Z or Beyonce, like I said. I knew somebody had called him. Okay. So anyway, Diddy is facing new allegations. You all remember the story that I reported last year sometime about Diddy supposedly dangling somebody over a balcony, right, 17 stories high. Well, now that's come back to haunt Diddy because they say the 5-count federal indictment against Sean Diddy Combs now includes an allegation that he dangled a woman over a balcony railing. This is strikingly similar to an allegation in separate civil lawsuits where 2 women filed against the mogul. One of those suits was settled privately. The other seeks $10 million in damages and has not yet gone to trial. Now there are two more. There are just two. Those are 2 of more than 50 civil suits filed against the Bad Boy Records founder over sexual misconduct, of course, all of which he denies. Okay, he maintains his innocence. So they have added that to the slew of charges that Diddy's already facing. Very interesting. Well, that's actually attempted murder, if you ask me. Christopher said statute of limitations has run out. It was 5 years ago. I mean, that's what I was thinking, but they said they added it, honey. That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, how is this even a thing? But anyway, that's what they say. All right, so now let's talk about the young man who has been accused of murdering someone at a track meet. Okay, because there are some what I felt like were disturbing updates to this story. Okay, so let's talk about it. Like some, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Because you all remember the story about Austin Metcalf, the little bully who unfortunately ended up losing his life when he got into it with a young man who was minding his own business, if you ask me. Okay, so anyway, the thing of it is they're now saying that he has raised over $300,000, but not on GoFundMe. They say any GoFundMe fundraisers that you see were not his. Okay. Now here's the story. Frisco track meet stabbing Karmelo Anthony fundraiser raises nearly $3,000. Okay, so almost, not over. Now, there's been some people upset online because the fundraiser has been hosted by Give, Send, Go, not GoFundMe, okay? Because we know how GoFundMe gets down when it comes to people who look like us, all right? They'll sit up there and let them raise money for Daniel Penny, who was accused of a violent crime. They'll let them raise money for Kyle Rittenhouse, who was also accused of a violent crime, okay? But not this young man. So anyway, now, by the numbers as of Wednesday afternoon, a fundraiser on Give Send Go has brought in more than $285,000, and the goal is for $350,000. Okay. Now, a message on the page from Anthony's family reads saying, "This is the official support fund for Karmelo and his family during this challenging and difficult time. The narrative being spread is false, unjust, and harmful. As a family of faith, we're deeply grateful for all of your support during this trying period. Your prayers and assistance mean more to us now than ever." The fundraising has generated outrage on social media, they say, with people calling on the platform to stop allowing the donations. I mean, you see this, it's the hypocrisy of it all for me. Okay, just devils. But anyway, Give Send Go's co-founder, Heather Wilson, defended the platform's decision to leave the campaign on X. Okay, so it's on X and you all can go and donate there if you so wish to. All right, they still need almost another 100,000. Okay. Now, so what they're saying is, I wanted to share my perspective on the ongoing discussion about whether we should allow fundraising for individuals who've been charged with a crime. Now, this is what the co-founder of the platform says. We're now seeing similar outrage from the right as we once did from the left when we allowed campaigns for Kyle Rittenhouse and Daniel Penny. Now, in both of those cases, we upheld the principle that someone is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Shouldn't that same standard apply here as well? Okay, do you see what I'm talking about? Of course it should. Okay, of course it should. Now, Wilson went on to say that people donated to all three of the campaigns to support due process and a fair trial, saying that from the beginning, we decided that Give, Send, Go would not serve as judge and jury. We're not here to decide who deserves a defense. That's the role of our justice system, she said. The right was outraged when GoFundMe removed Rittenhouse's campaign. Do you believe big tech should censor based on their personal beliefs around a situation? Okay, well, that's news to me because I didn't even know they had removed Rittenhouse's. So, anyway, Wilson urged people to let the court decide and not succumb to mob outrage. Several GoFundMe campaigns for Anthony have been deleted by the platform. Now, GoFundMe's terms of service prohibit fundraisers for the legal defense of violent crimes. Consistent with this longstanding policy, any fundraisers for the legal defense of someone charged with a violent crime are removed from the platform and refunded. This is according to a GoFundMe spokesperson. Now, the Anthony family said in a statement that they were never behind any GoFundMe accounts in the first place. Okay, so that was clearly fraudulent. So good thing they took it down. They say any GoFundMe account is not authorized or endorsed by the family. Please do not use GoFundMe for any donations to Karmelo Anthony's family. Okay, that's what the family said in a statement. Now, 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, a junior at Memorial High School in Frisco, was killed at a track meet. Now, police said that a student from Centennial High School in Frisco, 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony, stabbed Metcalf in the chest during a fight. An arrest report for Anthony said that Anthony told a school resource officer that Metcalf put both hands on him. After the officer mentioned to others that he had the alleged suspect in custody, Anthony said, "I'm not alleged, I did it." That's what he said. He said, "I'm not alleged, I did it." Now, the report states that Anthony also asked the officers, is he going to be okay? And he asked if what happened could be considered self-defense. Now, witnesses told police that Anthony was sitting under the Memorial High School tent and was told to leave. Anthony allegedly told Metcalf, "Touch me and see what happens." One witness told police that Metcalf then pushed Anthony to get him out of the tent, and Metcalf reached into a bag and stabbed him. Anthony was arrested and is now charged with first-degree murder. He's in the Collin County Jail on $1 million bond. Now, Austin's father, Jeff Metcalf, described the teen as an honor student, a national leader, and a talented athlete. Now, and he could have been all of the above, but a bully as well. Okay, now, in addition to track and field, he was a linebacker on the Memorial High School team. Austin was a leader. He led the football team. He was voted team MVP by his players and coaches, his father says. He played inside. His brother plays outside. Football was his pride and joy. He was working on track and field to increase his speed. Austin's family believes the fight started in the stands over a seating issue. They say they were sitting there and someone was behind them mouthing off. And they turned around and said, "Who are you?" And he said, "I'm Mello." And they said, "Well, you don't belong here. You don't go to Memorial." He had a Centennial tracksuit on. They said, "Well, you need to leave. This ain't your spot." This is what they say. Jeff, this is what the father says. Now, and some words were discussed that I'm not going to say on camera. And he asked him to leave. And he basically said, "Make me." And then he wound up stabbing him in the heart and killing him all over someone sitting in the right of the track meet. Well, that sounds all convincing, okay, telling it from his point of view, but we now know that's not the story, okay? And another thing is, see, that's what really ticks me off, because they painted such a narrative, okay? That's what they did. They painted such a narrative trying to make this little white boy look like he was just a little saint, like he was an angel, like he wasn't a whole bully. First of all, here's the thing. It is known practice, and any of you who ran track in school or whatever, you know that under those tents, different students from different schools get under there, okay? The thing is, if somebody's under there and you have a problem with it, you don't get to put your hands on them. And who the hell was Austin Metcalf to tell him to leave? Okay, that wasn't his tent. It belonged to the school. Why was he trying to pull rank and act like he runs stuff, okay? At the end of the day, what they're trying to do is frame the story as if this young man was just, doing his duties and telling him he didn't belong there. Like, sit down somewhere, honey. If anything, he should have gone and gotten a coach to see if the coach would ask him to leave. And that would have been the end of that. And also, when somebody says to you something like a statement like, "Don't put your hands on me or you're going to see what happens," well, you shouldn't put your hands on them because you've already been warned. Okay, and please be careful of your comments in the chats. Let's not say any racially charged comments. Okay, thank you, because YouTube will shadow ban people's your channels, even though you don't post. But anyway, with that all being said, the bottom line is he was doing too much. And then they tried to frame the story. Also, please pay attention. They tried to frame the story as if they had just met Karmelo. They already knew him and allegedly, according to reports, had already bullied him before and tried to jump him at the track meet. Okay, now Stop the Violence says you can tell he's a bully. Another student would have gotten an authority figure, and it was both brothers in his face. Exactly, beloved. See, that's what I'm talking about right there. Okay, Gwendolyn says Daniel Penny had a private donor. If I had Oprah's money, I would have paid Carmelo Anthony's fees. Carmelo's attorney's fees. Yes, exactly. Okay, so Panther Strike says my folks in Texas have told me directly that these two white boys are bullies. Exactly. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I've heard the same thing. So they both were about to jump him and had gotten into it with him before. So their father can sit there and act like, it was a formal introduction because they didn't know him. No, get out of here with that. And here's the thing. Even if they didn't know him, they met him that day and they both supposedly tried to jump him. Okay. And look how big this dude is. Okay. He's bigger than his brother. Let me put up another picture. Look at here. See, he's muscular. They say he weighs like 200 pounds. Now, right. Now imagine that. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry he lost his life. He's a kid nonetheless, even though he was a big kid, but nonetheless, I feel bad for the family that he lost his life, but don't sit here and try to paint a false narrative. Is all I'm saying. Now let's talk about this, because here's the thing, just to let you know how much hatred some people have for people who look like us. There's a white conservative podcaster by the name of Tim Pool. Tim Pool was basically defending Carmelo Anthony's right to defend himself. And then people who look like him started making threats and dragging him and all kinds of stuff, honey, mad because he's not going along with their false narrative. I find it all so interesting. Okay? Find it all so interesting. So let's talk about it. I'm going to play a clip of what Tim Pool had to say, because he posted this on his podcast. Lights up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Let me go to the timestamp. And also shout out to Nefkari T. Dessalines also. Okay, so here we go. Okay, hold on just a second. Here we go.
Report, go check it out, man. They going crazy in the comment section. Oh man, they mad. We're gonna go through some of them comments later on in this video. Oh man, they so mad. But like I said, their narrative.
Nothing matters but this. He was at a school. Nothing matters but this. He was at a school event at the wrong team's tent with a knife. He clearly chose murder than to walk away, cut and dry here. Nope, wrong. Imagine you are invited to a party at someone else's house and you are legally carrying a firearm. And then a fight breaks out and or like an altercation breaks out between you and some guy, and there's drinking involved or whatever. I'm not trying to make a 1-for-1 scenario. I'm trying to create a potential scenario separate from this one with similarities. You go to a party. Let's say you go to a party. And some guy starts saying stuff like, yo, man, get out of here. And you're like, I can do what I want. I was invited to the party. Verbal altercation escalates. And then the dude, you're standing there and you pull your sweater back and you've got a gun. You put your hand up and say, don't come close to me, bro. I'm warning you right now. Do not come close. Do not take another step. Then the guy grabs your arm and makes a move. So you draw your weapon and you use it. Okay. Make the argument you have no right to defend yourself when you're being attacked by a guy. Make the argument. By all means, go ahead and do so. I ain't going to do it.
Okay, so as you can see, he was basically saying that Carmelo Anthony had a right to defend himself, as we all do. But you know, some people who don't look like us feel like we don't have the right to defend ourselves against them. Okay? That's how some of them literally feel. So after Tim Pool was saying that, they started coming for him in the comments, talking real crazy or whatever. Okay, this is what he posted. I'm confused by this story. Are we against self-defense now? Somebody says, you were the one who deserved a knife in the chest, not Austin. So they're this mad. They're this mad, okay? So they wish he was dead. Okay, the ethnicist says, hey, beloved, where have you been? They say they always find excuses against us, yet stay moving the goalposts for themselves. Exactly. That's exactly what happens. Then another one said, Carmelo went to a track meet he wasn't part of to look for someone to stab while he looted tents. Okay, it isn't hard to understand. Why does Tim feel like it's necessary to double down and protect a murderer? Now I want you all to pay attention, because these are the types of narratives that they paint. Completely fictionalized accounts, made up scenarios, asinine details. Okay, this is what they do. They have to always make the worst case scenario for a Black person. But when one of their people murders a Black person who was in a car accident and goes and knocks on their door asking for help and gets shot and killed, they want to raise money for them. Okay? At the end of the day. Now, this guy says, I see an argument on both sides, but I do find interesting how conservatives are not even acknowledging that Austin should have kept his hands to himself. No, they're not. They're absolutely not acknowledging that part of the story. That's what they're not doing. Okay? They're more so acting like he had a right to do it, because in their minds he did. Because Carmelo didn't play for their team, wasn't a member of their school's track team. He was there without being invited. This is the narrative they're painting. And so, well, Austin had a right to push him or grab him or to get him out of there. That's how they really think. Okay? So then another person posts saying, Tim Pool is garbage. And I've known he's garbage for a long time now. So you see how mad they are? They're going in on this white man because he's not going along with the rest of the program. And then the YouTuber, Nefakari Desalanes, this is when he posted saying, keep your crusty hands to yourself and teach your little barbarians to do the same. I don't care what you feel about my people. Just keep your hands to yourself. Then one of them said to him, think we're afraid to take you out? Do y'all hear this? And then somebody else up here at the first comment said, Americans are sick of you people, and no one believes the innocent Black baby angel card anymore. When did they ever believe it? First of all, and nobody said he was an innocent Black baby angel. They're just telling the facts of the story as they actually happened. Okay? But honey, these people are a whole hot mess. Okay? They don't want justice for Carmelo Anthony, because whether he had a right to defend himself or not, they do not care. Okay? They don't care. And here's the thing that I find so very interesting as well. Do you all know they were talking about the death penalty for this young man? And then, of course, they decided against it because he can't get it because he's only 17. But the fact that it was even up for a discussion, Texas DA reveals whether teen charged with killing high school football star Austin Metcalf will face death penalty. I mean, that's really something to me. Okay, at the end of the day. So I'm going to go to this report. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now, this is a Fox News report, I believe, so we'll see how I want to hear how they frame it, because we already know how they get down. when it comes to people who look like us.
At Memorial High School in Frisco will remember a student stabbed to death at a track meet.
The victim's father says his son died in the arms of his twin brother. Shannon Murray here with those details. Shannon.
Yeah, Lauren and Brandon, Memorial High School will honor Austin Metcalf during second period today. There will also be counselors to support students and staff throughout the day on campus. Wednesday morning, the 17-year-old was at a District 11 5A track meet at Koykendall Stadium. Around 10 a.m., police say another student from Frisco Centennial stabbed Austin in the chest after a fight. The family says his twin brother Hunter tried to save Austin's life, but he died in his brother's arms. Wednesday night, their church opened its doors for a private prayer vigil. Austin's father says his son was chosen MVP of the football team and a member of the National Honor Society with a 4.0. He says right now they're relying on their faith.
He had a great life ahead of him. And to be taken away, it's such a tragedy. I mean, I can't even tell you how I feel because I don't know how I feel. I feel numb at the moment.
17-year-old Karmelo Anthony is charged with first-degree murder. Police have not said how he got the knife into the meat or what exactly led up to the fight, but Austin's father says it started over a seating issue in the stands. Austin's father says their family wants to see justice served, and he hopes his son's death will bring changes to security in the district.
Okay, well, you know, it's extremely sad. It's extremely sad that the young man lost his life. I don't wish that on anybody, parents losing their children. It's extremely sad. And his brother tried to save his life, of course, I'm sure. But I only wish that his brother had tried to hold him back, okay? Instead of both of them trying to fight one person. Because, hey, you don't know what people will do when they're afraid. Now, the teenager charged with murdering high school football star Austin Metcalf at a Texas track meet will not face the death penalty if he's convicted at trial, according to the local district attorney. Karmelo Anthony, 17 years old, who allegedly stabbed Metcalf in the heart at the Frisco athletic event last week, is protected from death row and even life without parole by the Supreme Court due to his age. This is what Collin County District Attorney Greg Willis said, saying that the Supreme Court has said not only can you not seek the death penalty against someone who committed a crime when they're 17, you can't even get them life without parole. That would not be something we would do even if we wanted to, he said. Okay, even if we wanted to, I don't know how that even makes sense. That's something we would not do even if we wanted to. Okay, anyway. The stabbing allegedly followed a brief altercation sparked with Metcalf, also 17, who asked Anthony to move out of his school's tent during a rain delay. Now, Metcalf's twin brother Hunter rushed to Austin's aid, but couldn't save him. Anthony allegedly admitted to stabbing Metcalf as he was taken into custody, but claimed it was in self-defense. And we already know he's charged with first-degree murder. So, and that's crazy too, because the thing is this, they already have said that it was an altercation. Both of them were engaged in the altercation. So why are they charging him with first-degree murder? Don't y'all find that interesting? First-degree murder is premeditated murder. Are they trying to say that he came there to stab and kill this young man? Because they know darn well that's not the case. But I want you all to pay attention to even the charge. First-degree murder. That's capital murder. And that's why they were talking about the death penalty and life sentencing. Because that's what you can get for first-degree murder. Okay? And they would likely be trying to try him for the death penalty or offering him the death penalty if they could. Talking about even if we wanted to, we wouldn't do that even if we wanted to. If you want to do it, then you definitely would. Why would you even want to is the question. But why isn't he charged with a lower count of manslaughter? First-degree murder. They did that because the boy was white. And also so they could give him the highest possible bail. Okay, $1 million bail. When they know that it was an altercation, it was mutual. That's right, Andrea. It was mutual combat. So why the hell is it first-degree murder? This is how they do, and it's down there in Texas too. Okay. Yeah, this is a travesty. And they're going to try to railroad this young man, I guarantee you. So anyway, they said, Willis said the move by the defense, hold on. He says that he was charged with first-degree murder and is being held at the Collin County Jail on $1 million bond. His legal team has asked for a hearing in which they will request the bond be reduced. They need to request that the damn charges be reduced, as well as the bond. A lesser charge would have a lower bond anyway. So that's what they need to be asking, if you ask me. Now, Willis said the move by the defense was expected. He said, we knew his lawyers would be asking that, but we need to just let all that play out in the courtroom. The killing, which made national headlines, I'm sure it did. It wouldn't have made national headlines had it been the reverse. Okay. It has sparked tensions locally after Anthony's family's their address was leaked online, sparking a wave of threats. I'm sure they did, low down people. Okay, Dominic Alexander, founder of the Next Generation Action Network, says, okay, the high emotions behind the case has led to speculation that the trial can be held in another location, but Willis believes the jury should be made up of locals. Ultimately, that'll be a judge's decision to make at the time of the trial. But yes, it has happened in Collin County. I want Collin County citizens to be able to decide this. Yeah, I bet you do. Because we already know how they get down. I mean, just listen to, the reports that are coming out. So I find it interesting. And the young man, it has been reported that he has a new lawyer. Okay, but let me just tell you all what the police report said. Let's go to the police report. Okay, Lorraine said, where's Roland Martin, Al Sharpton, Benjamin Crump, and the million dollar pastor club? You mean to tell me Benjamin Crump hasn't hopped on this? I'm shocked. Okay, now this is what the police report says. The victim, Austin, and the suspect, who was later identified as Karmelo Anthony, black male, put his date of birth on there. Anthony was from Centennial High School and was sitting under the Memorial High School tent. Austin had told Anthony that he needed to move out from under their team's tent, and Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and reached inside and proceeded to tell Austin, touch me and see what happens. Okay, here's the thing. If he opened his bag and reached inside and then told you touch me and see what happens, and you still touch him, okay, you must be a glutton for punishment. Okay, no one really thought Anthony really had any weapons in his bag. And Austin proceeded to touch Anthony, and then Anthony told Austin to punch him and see what happens. A short time later, Austin grabbed Anthony to tell him to move, and Anthony pulled out what Blank recalled as a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest and then ran away. Austin began grabbing his chest and telling everybody to get help. Okay, Blank advised he did not know Anthony's name, but stated another Memorial track member. Okay, so Blank was friends with Anthony and he could identify Anthony. Blank described Anthony as a black male, skinny, with possibly a goatee, short, puffy hair, and wearing Centennial High School clothing. This included my contact with Blank. I then was instructed to start a crime scene log. I retrieved a crime scene log from my patrol vehicle and began starting the crime scene log. I was later relieved by Officer Schultz, who took over the crime scene log, and I cleared the scene. Nothing further, attached to original report. All right, so that was straight from the report. Now, even the way that report was given, you can tell that they were already painting a narrative, okay? You can tell that they were already painting a narrative. They didn't say anything about both of them aggressively came towards Karmelo, okay? They didn't say anything about, they're trying to act like he just pushed him. But he may have done more than that for all we know. Okay, Roddy said, why would you proceed to not only touch him, but then further becomes the aggressor? Because he's a bully. That's why, beloved. That's how you know he's a bully, because any regular thinking person, if somebody picks up a bag and opens it, puts their hand in, you don't have a clue what they're about to pull out, right? And then you still proceed to put your hands in. That's a whole bully. Because I wouldn't have done that. Okay, I wouldn't have done that. Any logical thinking person wouldn't have, specifically with the set of circumstances that are going on. This is not somebody who already put their hands on you. So you really have no reason to put your hands on them. So that should have been the end of it. And if the guy didn't leave, if Anthony didn't leave and he wanted him to, could have just gone and gotten an adult, like I said, a coach or somebody. But no, he chose violence. Okay, and that was the result of it, unfortunately, for him. Okay, please pay attention. Now, they can try to paint all the narratives and try to sugarcoat his behavior if they want to. But the bottom line is, you know, he was definitely the aggressor. Something. This is all interesting because let's not forget that Courtney Clenny, who murdered by stabbing, okay, I want you all to think about it. She stabbed her black boyfriend with a knife, okay? And said also that it was self-defense. But what was her bond? Was her bond $1 million? Let me go and see. Let me just go and dig that up because I can't remember. But I guarantee you, Courtney Clinton didn't have no damn $1 million bond. Let's talk about it. Okay. What was her bond? Let me see here because they have the same charge. And both of them are saying it was self-defense too. We know Courtney's lying. Okay. Because we already saw the video of her in the hotel or lobby or in the elevator, not in the hotel, but in the elevator of their residence, putting hands on him. She was bonded out. Why am I not able to find what was her bond? Hold on, beloveds. At one point, she had no bond, but that was because she left town, remember? Didn't she go to Hawaii or something? And then her parents ended up bonding her out. She's facing second-degree murder. Here's the thing. I want you all to listen to the charges because remember, they didn't even charge her with first-degree murder. Okay, they charged her behind with second-degree murder. And she is a cold-blooded killer. Okay, do y'all hear this? Okay. Do y'all hear this? Yeah, she's in jail now, Marie, but at some point she was bailed out, it says. I just reported on this story and did an update on it not too long ago. Hold on. Okay, I don't know why there's reports saying that her parents bailed her out. Then the rest of them say bail was denied. Okay, well, good, because like I said, she did leave for 5 whole months. Why did they take so long to arrest her in the first place? And she's only charged with second-degree murder. Okay, so anyway, Evelyn says, Queen, Quadell X said the weapon was a knife to use to put up the tent at the track meet. 2 white students told him that both was hitting Karmelo. Okay, so hold on. You mean to tell me that he didn't bring the knife there? It was already there? Is that what you're saying, beloved? Where can I find this video of Quadell? Hold on. Yeah, I definitely didn't know this. That's news to me. Hold on. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance, beloveds. Okay, here it is right here. Here it is right here. He's on somebody's, he's on somebody's, or somebody must be showing his video. Hold on. Let me see if I can go to the timestamp. Really. Okay, here we go right here. I got it. He's on Fox Soul. Okay, so I'm going to use an overlay. Thank you for telling me that, beloved honey. This is all news to me. Wow. See how they just be sitting up here lying on people who look like us? It's a darn shame. Hold on. I'm going to go to this video. Everybody hit the like button, please. Okay, here we go. He's on Fox Soul. Okay, so I'm going to put an overlay on here. And I want to hear this. And I knew they were both hitting him because I already had heard that they tried to jump him. But if they were hitting him, they had already.
For today's Face-Off on Fox Soul, challengers Quan LX and Big Angry Adams ready to go blow by blow on those hot topics. Face-Off on Fox Soul starts right now.
That he did it in self-defense.
New documents detail what happened before and after 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony allegedly pulled a knife from his backpack and stabbed him. Fox 4's Alex Boyer joining us now live with the latest. Alex.
Hey guys, and in that 7-page arrest warrant affidavit, several witnesses, including Metcalf's twin brother, describe how that deadly encounter went down. The suspect then reportedly admitted to a Frisco police officer who detained him that he had stabbed Metcalf.
I would do the right thing.
Karmelo was sitting, he had a right to be sitting. There was no assigned seating anywhere in the stadium that excluded students from sitting in certain areas. Then when they went to Karmelo, he was threatened by both brothers. And he told them, don't put your hands on me. And they threatened to put their hands on him. And he told them, if you put your hands on me, watch what happens. The white kid, in this case, punched Karmelo in the face. He didn't push him, he punched him in the face. And then that young man defended himself, and unfortunately, a young student lost his life.
Okay, so let me just pause for a second. So here's the thing. I knew that he punched him and that they were lying, trying to minimize his culpability, okay? Saying that he pushed him to get him out of there. The mother told that lie. The brother told that lie. They all told the same lie. I knew that he did more than push him for him to pull out a knife. I knew it. And then specifically when I just read to you all that they said Karmelo told him punch him and see what happens. And Karmelo told him punch me and see what happens because the white guy threatened to punch him. That's how that went. He threatened to punch him first. Karmelo likely said punch me and see what happens. Because nobody's going to invite you to punch them if they're already scared. You know what I'm saying? He likely told him, I'm going to punch you because Cornell just said that they threatened to hit him. And that is what would prompt someone, if we're just thinking logically. If we're just thinking logically, the only reason I would tell somebody to punch me and see what happens is because they already told me they were going to punch me. Okay? I'm not just going to tell you because you walk up in my face and say, punch me and see what happens. No, I'm not going to say that. You'd have to say something to prompt a person to say that 9 times out of 10. Okay, but let's keep listening.
But Charles, in the state of Texas, you have a right to stand your ground. And if you are the victim of a vicious attack, you can use deadly force if necessary to protect yourself and your life to stop you from becoming a further victim of an assault or a crime. Why is this young man in jail when he didn't start it? He didn't approach anyone. They approached him. They used profane language toward him. They threatened him and then assaulted him, and he defended himself. Why is he in jail? He's defended himself from a vicious attack and assault. So this young man, in my opinion, should not be in jail. Teach your children. Keep your hands to yourself. That's what needs to be taught here. And to tell this young brother to give up your seat, give me your seat, this ain't no damn Rosa Parks era.
Okay, so now I want you all to listen because here comes another story. So he didn't tell him to get out from under the tent. You don't belong here. He wanted him to get up so he could sit in the seat. That's a bully. Who does that? Who is bold enough to walk up to another person and tell them, get out of this seat and let me sit here? That's a whole bully. And there's also somebody who's racist as hell and thinks that they can tell some black person to get up so they can sit down, honey. Do y'all hear this? That's what happened right there. Now we're getting to the gist of it. Now we're getting the real story. Panther Strike says, so when you state the law, these racist whites cry foul. Exactly is what they do. Okay, is what the racists do. Because at the end of the day, Texas is a stand your ground state. Okay? Let's keep listening.
You just can't go to a young black man and say, give up your seat. He had a right to sit there. And so that brother had his back of the bus moment and refused to give up his seat, and it cost that young white kid his life.
I rarely say this, Quanell. I sometimes internalize it, but shame on you. How absolutely despicable for you to sit here and try to draw this false equivalency between Rosa Parks and this scumbag murderer, right? Shame on you for...
Now, do you hear that? He called him a scumbag murderer for trying to defend himself. Do you all hear this? Do you all hear this? When I tell you, okay, let's keep going, honey, because I'm about to get so mad.
for living a life defined by make-believe racial grievance that you seek a pulpit to lie to people. And let's talk about those lies. Even if you assume everything that is coming out of the Karmelo Anthony camp, even if you assume all of that is true, under the laws of the state of Texas, he is still absolutely guilty of murder, period. Like, you can assume all the fabrications are true. It's still murder, right? You do not have a right to use deadly force in response to a shove or a punch. Now, mind you, all the witness statements are saying it was a shove that was goaded, but let's assume everyone's lying and this murderer is telling the truth. You still can't, because the scenario, what you're advocating for, and pulling Rosa Parks into, is that every time someone walks through a club and someone shoves them or bumps them, you can pull out a knife and stab them in the heart and kill them. And I have no doubt that more is going to come out of Karmelo Anthony, that more evidence. Now, there are rumors that I don't want to regurgitate.
Oh, please do.
No.
Please do.
Let's talk about what has been sold. That you sent me this weekend when we were discussing it. You sent me the statement by the police chief that turned out to be just fabricated. Somebody out there making believe the FBI is now involved, right? And that people are regurgitating all over social media. And it's all driven on racial lines. You are the one that was calling for Daniel Penny to go to prison for life. Now, mind you, we have this new spectacular game in America, right, where we play white man always bad and evil, black man always good, no matter what happens. The truth is, my feelings on this, if it was a white young man who brought a knife to school, went to someone else's tent, started being a jackleg, refused to move out, and then pulled out a knife and jabbed it in someone's heart, I would call him a murderer. And if a white kid did exactly what Karmelo Anthony did to a black kid, you would be out here marching in the streets.
Oh, no, I would not be.
People would be burning your life through your teeth.
George Zimmerman with the Trayvon Martin and put his hands on that kid who was doing nothing wrong. And you same white folks found George Zimmerman not guilty of murder when Trayvon was defending himself. Right here in Texas, you've had many cases where white men have been assaulted by black men. They use deadly force and they're not charged.
Why are you talking about something else?
You cannot
Why are you
tell
lying
me.
about my position, you despicable shame?
I want you all to pay attention to this. He said, why are you talking about something else? Isn't that what he was just doing? Okay, isn't that what he was just doing? Now he's sitting there getting so mad and fired up because he knows it's all true. Please pay attention to the devil.
That's a liar. He was assaulted. That young man was assaulted. He was threatened more than one time. He was asked to move from an area he had a right to sit in. He didn't approach nobody. He didn't threaten nobody. That young man, after being threatened continuously 3 times in a row, was punched in the face. He had a right to defend himself. So don't tell me that this young man can be threatened multiple times and physically punched and assaulted, and he ain't got a right to put his hands in self-defense on the person.
You guys, I'm going to remind you all again, please be careful of the comments that you put in the chat. I just deleted somebody's comment. I think it was yours, Anthony, that says, please avoid racially charged comments. Even though we're upset how this all turned out, please be careful of what you say. Okay, thank you.
Assaulting him, and he can use whatever force is necessary to stop the attack.
Why do you just
You
lie
brought up Daniel
all the
Penny.
time?
You brought up Daniel Penny.
I did.
Daniel Penny choked the young man to death on the subway. But that young man, he hadn't assaulted anybody. He was making threats, but he physically didn't touch anyone. This case was threats backed up by a physical attack and assault.
Now let's wait and hear what he has to say about this, because the bottom line is he's saying, oh, now you're talking about something else. But didn't he bring up Daniel Penny? He was talking about Daniel Penny. And then here's the thing. The bottom line is what Quanell is saying is absolutely accurate. Because for one, Daniel Penny had no business murdering Jordan Neely. Jordan Neely had not done anything other than talking loud as hell. That's what he was doing. And that's not a death sentence, okay? But see how they make excuses when it's their people. Now, Panther Strike says, family, queen. That is why I carry my personal protection. I was not raised to be a victim. Hashtag free Karmelo Anthony. Exactly, beloved. Okay? This is why black people need to always be ready, stay ready, so you don't have to get ready. You have a right to defend and protect yourself. I don't care who it is. If you feel threatened or you're in danger, every person has a right to protect and defend themselves. Okay, Dana says, Queen, Mr. Anthony comes from 2 parents' home and very intelligent, was about to go to college, but they say otherwise. That's what I'm saying, beloved. This man just called him a scumbag murderer. Like he's some thug out here on the streets, just do whatever. Like he's a gangbanger. This young man, he's on the honor roll in school. He has never been in trouble. He had multiple colleges reaching out to him for him to come there. At the end of the day, an athlete and all of that. And they're trying to minimize all of his accolades and trying to liken him to just some no good thug who came there looking for trouble. The lies they have told, talking about he came there to loot the tits. So like he's walking around the track meet trying to steal. Are you serious? They are so vile with their hatred. Thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and thank you so much for your kind contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. This is all a mess.
So that this young man put on that young black brother. That young black brother had a right to defend himself when he was beyond threatened but viciously attacked.
Well, there's another key difference, right? Mr. Penny, right, had a crazy guy, going up and screaming and yelling and threatening to kill people, an unhinged guy that should have probably been in a hospital.
The same thing the white boy did to Karmelo Anthony.
Not screaming over you. Let me finish. Right? And Daniel Penny, not using a deadly weapon, restrained him. And I said from the very beginning, there's a real question about where the line was drawn and what he did and if he was alive. Now, the medical examiner came out and they said it turns out that the fellow was still alive when Mr. Penny let him go. But that was a very nuanced situation. But here's a big nuance. I mean, something that you're ignoring is it didn't involve a deadly weapon. But let's talk about examples. So Daniel Penny put up a GoFundMe and it got taken down. Oh, it can't be up, right? The Anthony family, the wonderful Anthony family that raised this murderer, did such a wonderful job, this defender, right, of liberty, this new Rosa Parks for 2025, as you call him. They put a GoFundMe up for $100,000. It didn't get taken down. The moment, minutes after it got the $100,000, they jacked it up for more money because it's all just a con.
George Zimmerman raised $1 million that was donated to him after killing Trayvon Martin. Kyle Rittenhouse, after he killed 2 people in cold blood, he raised over $1 million. Wait a minute.
Let's
the
talk about that.
Who killed Michael Brown, he raised almost $2 million. So don't tell me that when black folks decide to put money and support behind a young brother who didn't start a fight, who didn't threaten nobody, who was sitting where he could have right to be sitting, was threatened more than one time, was physically attacked, he defends himself, and then all of a sudden he's in jail for murder. But guess what, brother? We gonna stand behind ours like you white folks stand behind yours.
Okay, let me
that
be
young
clear.
brother was attacked.
I know you're young.
Okay, I'm just going to tell you all right now, there's no way in the hell I could be sitting up there talking to that man. There's no way I could have gone, Quanell is better than me, because there's no way that I could have gone on his show and sat there listening to the BS that he is spewing. Okay? I could not. And here's the thing. Daniel Penny didn't need a deadly weapon because his body was a deadly weapon. This man was a Marine. He knew how to murder somebody with his bare hands, and that's what he did. He knew that the amount of pressure he was applying to Jordan Neely was enough to take him out. He knew that. And the amount of time that he did it. Okay, so this man's trying to mince words and trying to act like it's not the same scenario, but really it's a worse scenario because Daniel Penny murdered somebody who was not physically violent, somebody who was not doing anything but talking loud. Okay?
He defended himself.
Because you really get worked up when you're lying.
But
let me say,
let me say very
clear.
But then it's justified.
Us killing
but when we defend ourselves, now, it's murder. Now the hell with that.
Firstly, George Zimmerman, absolutely a murderer. The officer that shot Michael Brown, there's evidence that Michael Brown attacked him. The question is, there's also some evidence that he was running away that was refuted. That's a very weird situation.
Now, first of all, he's clearly lying. In the case of Michael Brown, I know that's been some time ago. That's been 11 years ago, 2014. First of all, Michael Brown was not running from that officer. Michael Brown was on his knees with his hands up. He and the officer supposedly did get into a scuffle, but at the moment of the shooting, he was on his knees with his hands up. There's no way to justify that and make it make sense. Okay? That officer murdered him in cold blood. If the fight is over, the scuffle is over, he's on his knees with his hands up, why would you shoot him in the head? Like, please miss me with it. These devils think that everything they do is perfectly fine.
Simplifies wall cops.
But this young man attacked Karmelo Anthony.
Hold on, Mr. Liar in Chief.
No, you're the liar.
No, I'm not going to lie
Because you
about
white
anything.
folk hate when black folks
You
defend
brought up
themselves.
George Zimmerman. He was prosecuted. It failed.
And white folks found him not guilty. All white
He was
jury.
absolutely a murderer, in my opinion. I disagreed with that outcome, just like I disagree with the officer.
First of all, he's a damn lie, okay? He's sitting up here lying. He's the liar in chief. First of all, he did not disagree with George Zimmerman, okay, with the verdict. He did not. He never called George Zimmerman a murderer, okay, as I recall. Right, with that all being said, he's sitting up here lying. And he damn sure didn't think that that officer that killed Michael Brown was innocent. I'll guarantee you. Now, I don't know for sure what he said about that, but I guarantee you he did not think that officer was guilty. I mean, you can tell just by the way he's talking right now. He's calling Quanell a liar because he's telling the accurate depiction of the facts of the case. Okay, because he's telling him what really happened and debunking the false narrative that the devils have tried to paint. But let's keep listening.
That murdered Tamir Rice, not facing charges.
Found not guilty.
You act like, well, he was never charged.
A grand jury said not guilty. Let him go.
Here's the thing. You act like all white people have this one opinion. What we're only seeing in America right now is the only thing we see is the brazenness of some people. Obviously, it's not everyone that racialize every incident, and they look at it through the prism of race, right? And for you, if you flip-flop the races here, you would be screaming about the entire different thing, and I'd be agreeing with you that was wrong. But you make all of your decisions based on race. Then you lie and scream
that's
and
your
talk.
assessment here.
Now, if that isn't the pot calling the kettle black, he's saying that Quanell makes all of his decisions based on race. No, that's what he does. Okay, that's what he does, and people who think like him, that's what they all do. All of these people out here getting mad at people like Tim Pool for telling the truth and being unbiased, all these people sitting out here trying to paint this damn false narrative, they all do that. That's what they do. They racialize everything, and then they make their decisions based on race. If it's somebody of their own race, they will defend them tooth and nail no matter what the situation really was. They will tell lies and paint false narratives. That's what they do. And act as though the black person who was actually the victim is the aggressor and the one to be demonized. That's what they always do. People who think like him. But now he's trying to project and trying to flip the script at the end of the day. And TD says, why are the good white folks not speaking up for Anthony? Why are they so quiet? Well, earlier in the broadcast, beloved, you may have come in late, but I did show a white person who absolutely spoke up for Karmelo Anthony. His name is Tim Pool. And then other racist people went in on him and started making threats to him and talking crazy and wishing death on him and all of that. Okay, just to show how much hatred some of these devils have.
It's not an assessment.
Because there's a white victim in this case.
I'm
sorry,
Texas law,
he didn't start a fight.
Texas law,
he didn't threaten anybody.
Well, actually,
Carmelo Anthony did not threaten anybody.
Very clear.
I've talked to witnesses. I've talked to the family. I've talked to the grandfather.
Which family?
Carmelo Anthony's family.
Exactly.
And I've talked to his family.
You're getting paid.
And gotten
You're
details.
getting paid,
not
Carmelo?
a penny.
Yeah,
not a penny.
Yet.
But guess what?
Deal.
I'll say this to you.
Don't say it.
Not only am I not getting paid, I'm sending some of my money to his defense fund.
Okay, hey,
because that young brother
let's
deserves an adequate and thorough defense, and I'm donating to it, and I pray others do also.
So if he has such a valid defense, why are there so many lies swirling around in the slurry of social media that first it was that there was past encounters between these brothers and Mr. Anthony, his girlfriend, that they robbed Mr. Anthony, that they attacked him and beat him up, and he was looking at his life was threatened. When none of it occurred, there's very detailed witness accounts that are available.
But there's all kind of lies going on. There are all kind of lies going on.
Actually, there's not, right?
Now, what about this one?
So I read it.
Now, this young man was killed.
You can yell. I can yell too. No, you interrupted me.
You opening your mouth to me like that.
See, this is what I was waiting on right here, guys. This is what I was waiting on right here for him to go off, because I saw earlier in the conversation that he had that sort of temperament, but what he was doing was trying to further antagonize Karmelo by talking calmly and telling him to calm down. Okay? When Karmelo starts talking over him, after he's already done it, then he's talking to him all calm. Calm down. Why are you yelling? Trying to talk all like that. But I knew this is the real him right here, honey. Okay, please pay attention. Again, I'm asking you all, please be careful of your comments. I just removed somebody's comment. Okay?
Like me, you white folks are reaping what you sow.
White folks.
You're reaping what you sow.
White folks
You're reaping what you sow.
So what did Austin Metcalf deserve to get murdered in your book?
When he threatened more than once.
Okay.
When he approached
what did he say?
Let me finish.
What did he say?
When he threatened
how did he threaten
that if he did not give up his seat, what he was going to do.
What did he say
when
he was going to do?
When he threatened that young man
What did he say?
that if you don't move, I'm going to punch you in your face.
Okay.
2. 3, when he decided that he was going to take his hand, punch that innocent kid in the face who didn't threaten him, who was not breaking any laws, who was not violating no school policies or procedures. When he did that, he crossed the line.
He was violating.
See, the Caucasian guy seems to think that Karmelo Anthony should have just sat there and let that dude punch him in the face. And didn't I tell you all that he threatened to punch him first? See, that I knew that's only what made sense. Okay? They're sitting there acting like Karmelo instantly said, hit me and see what happens. Okay, I knew that was all lies and cap, because you wouldn't say that unless somebody threatened to do it. So now Karmelo just admitted that the guy threatened to punch him if he didn't give up the seat. See how more of the truth is coming out?
Gave Karmelo Anthony the right to defend himself. Karmelo Anthony was not the instigator. He was not the initial aggressor. The instigator, the threatener, and the initial aggressor, Mr. Metcalf, died. He brought that on himself.
Okay, that's a disgusting take, right? But you said he wasn't breaking any rules. Was it a violation of school policy to come to the track meet armed with a deadly weapon?
Now,
yes or no?
Wait a minute.
Yes or no?
It wasn't that kind of knife. No. It was that kind of knife.
Yes or no?
It was not that kind of knife.
Well, what kind of knife was it?
That's the lie being told.
No.
It was not no butcher knife, no kitchen knife. It wasn't no buck knife. It wasn't that kind of knife.
What kind of knife was it?
See, I'm going to be quiet right now. It's going to come out.
Oh.
Those knives that he used were the same ones they used to help put them tents up.
Okay, so he was armed with a knife.
Everybody, a lot of kids had those knives putting those tents up. It's a custom knife that they used to put those tents up. He didn't bring no weapon like that.
Are you allowed to carry a knife at school?
Charles, it was not that type of weapon.
Okay. Was it a knife
at all,
or not?
Charles? It was something that they used to help erect tents.
Okay. Who told you this?
All of them. Let me say this to you, Charles. I'm not going to get too deep into that
I get
point.
that. Had Karmelo been in trouble before for carrying a weapon at school?
I don't know anything about this.
You don't know anything about it. Okay, so we can agree, though, that it is in fact a violation of policy to have a deadly weapon at a track meet. Yes
Charles,
or no? Yes or no? Can we agree to that?
He didn't bring that type of weapon.
Okay.
He did not.
Did he have a weapon hidden in his backpack?
He used a weapon to defend himself,
Did he
Charles.
open up his backpack?
He used a weapon to defend himself.
I dare you to touch me.
No, Charles.
Well, so
he had a right to do that.
Oh, well, really?
He wasn't wrong.
Really?
If you in my face threaten to do bodily harm to me, if you threaten me over and over to do bodily harm to me, and then you punch me in my face, because he got a right to use whatever force necessary to stop that attack.
So what you're saying is if it turns out that everyone that was there that gave witness statements that have been published, if they weren't lying and he didn't punch him in the face, right? If they didn't threaten him with physicality, he didn't punch him in his face, do you still think that murder was okay?
I've talked to two students.
Do you still think that murder was okay?
I've talked to two students who were right there, Caucasian students.
Okay.
And they told me, yes, he was punched in the face.
Who were those students?
I'm not going to name them.
Okay, of course you're not.
But those
because
two
you're
students,
lying to Fox
no,
Soul.
you are a damn liar.
No, I'm
I
not.
talked to those two students.
You are the same
and
person.
They admitted that he punched that boy in the face after threatening him, Charles.
Okay, you are the same person that sent me this narrative along with a false police chief statement.
That was put out there before the public, yes.
Right? The thing is, you are just regurgitating lies that are all designed that you wouldn't. And my whole problem is not that you're. My whole problem
If
is
he
not.
punched him in the face.
My whole problem.
So if he threatened him and punched him, was that self-defense?
No, it's still not a Texas.
So if you
threaten
that kid over and over and punch him in the face, you can't use no force necessary to stop that attack. So Texas don't have a standing ground law.
Do you want
Texas don't have a standing ground law?
Not in that context.
Oh,
no.
stop it,
I think you
Charles.
misunderstand it.
No,
if
he got a stand your ground law, Charles, and he stood his ground.
Okay, you're lying.
He stood his ground,
And I don't
Charles.
know for sure, although I know you're a very intelligent man, so I think you're knowingly lying as opposed to just.
No, you
but
just
my
don't like
problem,
I'm putting the 12
my
truth in
real
your
problem with this, it's not that you're wrong about Texas law. My real problem with this is that this incident has made it glaringly clear that you are willing to take whatever position you have to take, irrespective of the truth, based purely on skin color. And that's repugnant. In Texas, right? So let me educate you about self-defense. He did not have the option to escalate to the use of a deadly weapon and deadly force in response to any sort of just shove, or even if it was a punch, right? You can't pull out a gun and shoot someone that punches you.
So what can you do if you get
now,
punched?
Hold on. In
Texas,
you can punch them back. You can shove them back. No, it's true.
You got a right to stop the aggressor.
No, you don't have
you got
a right to use
stand
deadly
your
force.
ground and stop the aggressor.
So you think that we live in a state where every time someone shoves or punches someone, the other person can pull out a gun or a knife and kill them?
This is what I believe.
Yes or no?
This is what I believe.
No, you're going to lie.
If
Lie
you
more
go
to the
up to
audience.
someone and you threaten them, continuously threaten them, and then you follow up on that threat and physically attack them and assault them, they got a right to use whatever force is necessary to stop the aggressor.
Okay.
That's what I believe, and that's what took place in this case.
So here's a truth for you. If you have to make stuff up to justify what you're arguing, you don't have an argument, right? And the truth is, the scenario, the Texas and America that you're arguing.
Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about whether or not Quanell is lying. Let's talk about whether the white guy's lying. I don't know his name, so I could call him by his name. But Pretty Wing says if you're outnumbered, yes, you can use deadly force. Okay, here's the deal. Okay, here's the law in Texas. I looked it up. It says in Texas, deadly force can be used in self-defense if it is reasonably believed to be immediately necessary to protect oneself or another from imminent death or serious bodily injury, or to prevent the commission of certain violent crimes. The stand your ground law in Texas means there is no legal duty to retreat before using deadly force. So you can use deadly force. If you are in imminent danger, if you risk death or serious bodily injury, which he did because both of them jumping him, he's already been punched in the face. Who knows how far they would have taken it at the end of the day, okay? Or to prevent the commission of a certain violent crime. Also, in the stand your ground law in Texas, you have no duty to retreat before using deadly force. So you don't have to just stand there and take it, nor do you have to run away. You can stand there and defend yourself. So this man is the one lying, okay, painting a whole narrative.
And you're only arguing for it because the murderer is black, right? If the murderer was white and the victim was black, you'd be leading marches in the street.
No, I
people
would
be
not.
burning stuff down. But that's a whole different deal. You want an America, and you can't even see the slippery slope. You want an America where every time someone...
This man is clearly painting narratives. Dana says, Mr. Anthony is 5'9", 135 pounds, and those twins are over 6 feet and over 200 pounds. Do the math. Exactly. And that's what I'm talking about here. Clearly, he was intimidated and fearful of them. He's small framed, and he's not, it's not like he's a thug who's out here used to getting into fights and beefing with people. He's not some gang banger. This is just a regular kid who goes to school, does his work, makes good grades. He's not used to being out here fighting and especially getting jumped. Like, this is all crazy. And unfortunately for Austin Metcalf, he just effed around and found out. That is the sad story. Okay, he clearly brought this on himself. His parents should have told him to keep your hands to yourself, because that's what I taught my sons. Okay, unless somebody puts their hands on you. And this is just all crazy. Now, this man's sitting here doing all he can to change the narrative. Dana, thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings.
Punches somebody on a campus, at an airport, and wherever, if they can get their hands on a deadly weapon, they can open up their bag and say, hey, you better not touch me or else, and then shove a knife in someone's heart or shoot a gun through their chest. That's the America you want.
I want an America to where if you are not a double standard America, not a two-system justice America.
That's all you want.
Not laws for white folks or black folks. What I want is an America that says, if you go up to somebody who's not doing anything wrong to you, who's not threatening you, and you start threatening them, and then you follow up those threats by physically attacking them, they got a right to use whatever force that is necessary to stop that assault and that aggressor. That's the America that I want.
See,
but unfortunately, whenever black people or black men do that to a white person, it's justified. Whenever a white person kills a black person, just thinking they were threatened, it's justified. So, you said on this show, and you said Daniel Penny was not guilty. You said on this show and said Daniel Penny should be found not guilty, that it was wrong that he be charged. And the young man that he choked to death did not physically assault Daniel Penny at all. He was threatening somebody else, and Daniel Penny intervened and choked him to death. So how in the hell can you sit here right now and say that a young man who was threatened over and over, as Karmelo Anthony was, and was punched, that he doesn't have a right to defend himself?
Now watch this demon sit here and try to justify it. Watch him when there is no justification, because like Quanell said, if he was all for Daniel Penny not being charged, if he was all for Daniel Penny using self-defense as his excuse, why is he so adamant against Karmelo Anthony? Because he's black. Okay, this is just what it is. He's trying to flip the script, and he's trying to use the reverse Uno card. Okay, trying to act like Quanell is the one who's basing his decisions or thoughts or opinions off of racism, when in fact, that's exactly what he himself is doing. And that's what all of these people who are outraged about it, with all of these people who are upset because Karmelo has a fundraiser going on, all of them are mad about that. The ones who were calling for the death penalty and for him to get a life sentence and all of that. It's nothing but a double standard in this country. Okay, that's all it is. These people literally think, most of them, that they are allowed to do whatever they want to people who look like us, okay? But at the end of the day, we are never supposed to stand up to them, period.
Because in the other case, Mr. Penny is white, and in this case, Daniel, in this case, Karmelo Anthony is black.
Actually, it was you that took the opposite position. I took the same position, right? That you have to look at when you have a claim of self-defense, you have to look at the immediate facts and what happened and talk about it, especially one where you have a physical force, a restraint that led to a death. It turned out the testimony during the trial was that and I forget his name, he was still alive when law enforcement got there. So it contravenes the narrative that his death was caused by the chokehold. Now, I don't know. I didn't sit on the jury. And then it comes down to the reasonable use of non-deadly force, right? He was restraining him, and the question was to restrain too much. It's a very nuanced question, and that was my position. You want to make everything black or white because you're alive, but I'm not finished.
Is it a crime to threaten somebody with physical harm?
Again, there is no evidence.
You a lawyer, based on witness testimony, Charles, is it a crime in Texas to threaten somebody with physical harm?
Let me tell you all something. I want you all to pay attention, because in the case of Jordan Neely, he's saying something that I have literally never heard before. This man is sitting up here lying. He's making up stuff. He's saying that Jordan Neely was not dead right after he was choked. Okay? Now, it says, yes, Jordan Neely died after being placed in a chokehold by a fellow subway passenger. All right. It says Daniel Penny, according to the medical examiner, Okay, he was dead after he was choked. And then it says Daniel Penny choked him, according to the medical examiner. He says that the death was ruled a homicide caused by compression of the neck. Okay, and of course, Penny was found not guilty of criminally negligent homicide in the death. Okay, please pay attention. So he died from the chokehold. All right, so what is he talking about? And then here's the thing. Daniel Penny was only initially charged with manslaughter. Okay, manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide. He was never charged with first-degree murder. Okay, at the end of the day, even though he grabbed this man from behind and choked him until he was dead. So this man is sitting here lying, making up his own scenario. Nobody ever said, I never heard one report ever that said that Jordan Neely was not dead after he was choked. And we know that Jordan Neely died at the hands of Daniel Penny. That's why he was arrested and went to trial. So why is he sitting here trying to act like it's something other than what it is? This man is crazy.
It is.
Yes or no?
It is a class. Let me.
Okay.
I let you go on.
Yes or no, sir?
It is a traffic ticket level.
Okay,
offense.
now wait a minute. Is it
Now, keep this bell running.
a crime to physically attack someone who's no threat to you whatsoever?
It is a crime to assault people. It'd be Class C. If
So
there was
did
no
not
pain, there was assault.
So did Mr. Metcalf die in the commission of a crime?
Okay. Again, you don't have a right. See, you don't.
Did he die committing a crime?
Well,
Yeah, he's not going to answer that, likely because he doesn't want to admit the truth. He's trying to deflect and gaslight again. This is all he's been doing the entirety of this conversation. Okay, and it's really sickening to watch and listen to. TC Dan says, I wonder what the president has to say about all of this. Anyone take a question? Thanks for reporting on this, Queen. You're welcome, beloved. I appreciate your contribution to the channel and your insight into the topic. Peace, love, and blessings. The president isn't going to say anything about this. He's not going to say anything about this 9 times out of 10. I seriously doubt it at the end of the day, honey. Yeah, I would clearly be surprised. Alice says, why keep talking to him? He just wants to put BS front and center. Exactly. And this is why I could not deal with him. Okay, I could not sit there and talk to him because, here's what you find. People like him who think that way, you're not going to be able to convince them. And even if they are convinced or actually know the truth and details, they're never going to admit them. They'll continue to paint a false narrative. This is why I don't argue with clowns like that on the internet ever, because there's no getting through to them. They've already made up their mind that they hate people who look like us, and they will say and do anything that it takes to demonize us and paint us as the aggressor, even when, in fact, we are the victim. That's just what it is. So why even waste an ounce of your breath? Okay.
Well, I don't know. In
So
fact,
if he physically attacked that kid first,
what the witness statements
that was a
are,
crime.
okay, but the witness statements are that he told him that, in fact, that Karmelo Anthony went into the tent and was harassing people.
Oh,
he asked him to leave, and then
Mr.
there was a shove.
Died.
Okay, now please listen. Now he's saying that Karmelo was harassing people. Now, no one's ever heard that in any of the reports. None of that's ever been said. Now, just pay attention to how he continues to add lies and more lies, but call Cornell a liar. Sitting here saying that Karmelo was harassing people. Okay, who was he harassing? Why would he be harassing anyone? Okay, and if he was harassing people, why didn't the people he was harassing ask him to leave? This is all lies and BS. Like, this is pathetic.
In the commission of committing
Karmelo
a crime.
Anthony is a disgusting murderer.
No,
and you
he's
would
not.
Be
He's
calling him a disgusting murderer
not.
if he was
is
white.
a
You would
victim
be
of an attack.
marching, burning, and...
That's it for the Face-Off on Fox Soul. We'll catch you next.
With that all being said, that was just hard to even listen to. That man was lying as much as he could, honey. Okay? He was lying as much as he could. But now, so here's the thing. Okay, in other news as it pertains to the case, he has now hired, Karmelo Anthony has now hired a new attorney. So let's talk about that. In the high-profile killing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, a solemn and significant few days lie ahead. At the Frisco church Metcalf attended, family and friends will say final goodbyes Saturday to the Memorial High School student, athlete, and identical twin who loved sports and outdoors. Frisco police say that Metcalf was stabbed to death at a track meet last Wednesday morning by 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony, who has just hired a new defense attorney, Michael Howard. Okay, so now let's get into this. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share my screen. I thought I had removed this overlay. Okay, here we go.
Stabbed at a track meet, will be laid to rest tomorrow. The funeral for Austin Metcalf will happen just hours before a hearing for his accused killer. And we have just learned he has a new defense attorney. Meredith Yeomans has the details.
In the high-profile killing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, a solemn and significant few days lie ahead. At the Frisco church Metcalf attended, family and friends will say final goodbyes Saturday to the Memorial High School student athlete and identical twin who loved sports and the outdoors. Frisco police say he was stabbed to death at a track meet last Wednesday by 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony, who we've learned has just hired a new defense attorney, Michael Howard.
He's a very experienced criminal lawyer from Dallas.
Toby Shook is a defense attorney not connected to the case, but says he's been following it closely.
Just the tragedy of the loss of life and the potential of loss of liberty of the defendant and what these families are going through.
Anthony remains in the Collin County Jail on a $1 million bond, but will request that amount be lowered at a bond reduction hearing next week.
Monday's hearing is scheduled to start at 9 a.m. in front of Judge Angela Tucker. Protesters are anticipated, so security will have an increased presence here at the Collin County Courthouse.
It puts a lot of pressure on the prosecution as well as the defense.
Shook says the judge will weigh factors like the facts of the case, criminal history, age, and whether Anthony is a flight risk.
I would not be surprised to see a reduction since the defendant is only 17 and doesn't have a criminal history.
Frisco police said an altercation led to the fatal stabbing at the track. That's changed the course of two families forever. Meredith Yeomans, NBC5.
According to an arrest report, Anthony told police he stabbed Metcalf in self-defense. In a statement this afternoon, Metcalf's mother said their family's sole focus is on healing their hearts and ensuring that Austin's legacy and spirit are honored.
Okay, so anyway, there you have it. He's hired a new attorney. So we'll see how this all turns out, but they're going to try to stick it to him. Okay. At the end of the day. It's really sad and unfortunate, this whole thing, because Austin's family, you know, I send my condolences to them, like I said, because teenagers do dumb stuff. They were out there being bullies, and it just ended out bad for them. But at the same time, Karmelo Anthony was a bright and upcoming student and had a whole bright future ahead of him. And how is that going to turn out now that he's been charged with murder in the first? I'm still very upset about the charges that he was, like, they act as though he premeditated this. And now to find out that actually the knife that he used was already there. Okay, so they have painted a whole fictitious narrative. They act as though he came there with that knife. That's the story they've been painted. That's the story that they put out there. And now that story is likely going to stick for many people. Okay, I just want you all to pay attention, honey. At the end of the day, it's just a sad set of circumstances. I'm going to keep following this story. Hopefully his bond will be reduced to the point that he can get out of jail. And you all make sure that you donate to his fundraiser at Give, Send, Go if you can. Okay, whatever you can send, I'm sure the family will appreciate it. All right, so with that all been said, I'm going to conclude the broadcast. Make sure if you missed the broadcast on yesterday, the broadcast on yesterday. Please go back and watch those. You don't want to miss a beat. And also, I'm going to be posting something for the spiritual channel and something for the members on this channel. Okay, so make sure you check the channel. And if you have not been receiving notifications, double check to make sure you're still subscribed, because they do unsubscribe people on a regular basis. I love you all to life. And Keish Love just gifted a membership to the channel. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. You all shout out Keish for donating a membership to the channel. Okay, I really appreciate it. And I love you all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Listen, I might come back later. Okay, I might come back later. You never know. I'm not really that busy today as far as outside of YouTube. So I may come back later. You never know. So just check the channel. Okay, and with that all being said, oh, thank you, Keish. Keish just gifted another membership to the channel. Thank you, beloved. That is so considerate. Okay, so I hope you all enjoy the rest of this day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Now, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got